This year, after pre-season testing, it was quite clear that something had changed inside the Ferrari. The team wasn't lighting up the timesheets like we were used to seeing in said tests. And with the announcement that came right after, we had confirmation that something had indeed changed. On February 28th, the FIA released a statement saying that they had reached an agreement with Ferrari concerning their 2019 power unit, and then those numbers in testing made sense. The Australian Grand Prix was a few weeks away, and the speculations had already started. Maybe Ferrari would drop to third, some argued. Maybe even fourth, said the bold. But current world events left us unsure. The Grand Prix was called off, and we wouldn't have racing for who knows how long. And in the meantime, all we had was speculation. So, what happened exactly? What was this agreement and where did it come from? First, we have to go back to the middle of the 2019 season, where after the summer break, Ferrari endured an upturn in performance, scoring 6 consecutive pole positions and their only race wins of the season, otherwise pretty much dominated by Mercedes, although they were always within reach. After Mexico, Red Bull had their suspicions related to the Ferrari power unit, suspicions that were shown to the world when Verstappen accused Ferrari of cheating after the event. We thought that he was just running his mouth and didn't read much into it. Funny enough, Red Bull were one step ahead of it. They came up with and developed a fuel flow system that the FIA deemed illegal. They knew the outcome would be this one, and it was just bait to then release an inquiry regarding the legality of Ferrari's system due to their supposed similarities. And funnily enough, the next race at Circuit of the Americas, they were off the pace. Ferrari were just slower. At the time, we just thought it was a one-off, but at the next event in Brazil and once again at Abu Dhabi, their speed was consistently slow. Add that to some controversy regarding the fuel amount Ferrari declared, which was below the actual amount of fuel inside the car. The team blamed miscalculation and were reprimanded for it, but it pretty much died there, or that's what we thought. Throughout the whole season, an investigation had been going on, an investigation that would finally reach its verdict. As previously stated, February 28, 2020 was the date where it came to light that Ferrari had reached a settlement with the FIA regarding their power unit and their fuel flow system. A deal that remained secret, but you'd have to be blind not to notice what actually happened. By all means, it looked like some sort of plea deal, where an offering informing the FIA how to better police the fuel flow rules added to help with research for sustainability, the investigation would conclude, leading to no penalty being given to Ferrari. Understandably, the F1 community was appalled by this settlement, and outrage was seen everywhere, from publications to official statements, but it would all pretty much cease when the season actually started at the Austrian Grand Prix, where we saw one Ferrari not making it to the third row, qualifying 7th, and the other couldn't even reach Q3. Vettel would start the race 11th on pure pace, or lack thereof. This secret agreement had definitely hurt Ferrari. Maybe they didn't get punished, but their drop in performance and the way they're making fools of themselves almost makes up for it. The team were enduring their worst nightmare. They had become a midfield team, and not a good one at that. Although with a couple of miracle drives on the early spec car, Leclerc would get 2 podiums on the first few races. Not all hope was lost, right? Well, as the season progressed, it just got worse. The rapid upgrade pace of the tightest midfield in years left Ferrari out for scraps, fighting to rarely get into Q3, and on race day not often breaking deep or at all into the top 10, defending 6th in the standings from AlphaTauri of all teams. For as long as there has been a Ferrari on the grid, they rarely had the best aero package, with Enzo Ferrari arguing that aerodynamics are for teams that can't make a good engine, and fair enough, they usually had one of, if not the best engine on the grid. But now that all this controversy is upon us, the lack of aero development is really telling. In a midfield that has relied on aero to stick out in a race after race battle, with the top runners changing every time, from the likes of McLaren to Renault to Racing Point, Ferrari just couldn't keep up. The lack of pace is not only evident on the Ferrari cars, but also on their customer teams, Alfa Romeo and Haas, whose straight line speed dropped considerably when compared to last year, although no team has fallen as back as Ferrari. Fair enough, the Haas has been basically written off by the team, which will not be getting any aero upgrades for the season because of the focus switching to the new regs, but the fact that junior team Alfa Romeo is sometimes on their level, a team with a budget less than a third of Ferraris is matching them in performance, and sometimes even outperforming them outright. It really highlights the structural problems within the team. This goes definitely past the engine stuff. They honestly remind me of 2010's McLaren, a team that slid down the field through the years up until they had a whole management reshuffle to be in a position to start to grow again. In my opinion, Ferrari should basically scrap everything apart from their drivers and start from scratch. Not that their aero package is subpar and their engine is the worst on the grid, it's not looking good for the Scuderia, whose CEO stated that Ferrari won't be at the top of the podium for at least a couple more years. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. With Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc being their lineup from 2021 onwards, they have two of the biggest young talents to help find and solve their glaring issues. It would honestly be a shame if they didn't make full use of that. But yeah, this has pretty much been it. If you boil it down, the downturn of Ferrari can be much simpler than it's originally thought, and I hope this video helped clarify whichever doubts you had about the team's form. If you liked the video, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads.